today it's actually quite important, and I want to highlight why is it important for us to be here, and why is it important for us to start tackling these important topics. Following the figures from the Women in Health organization, 70% of the workforce in the world is made in the workforce in health is made by the women. Only 30% of the leadership positions are occupied by women, which means that we are working there. We are part of the health force. We're a huge and very, very important part of the workforce. We are not occupying the leadership positions. And I would like to know, why is that? Why do we need to do to push women leadership? And what do we need to do to have this, to raise our voices and to be great leaders, the great potential leaders that we can all be? And for that, we have invited our awesome speakers that I would invite to introduce themselves and also have their opening line of, do they think female leadership is better, and better than what? So I will start with Ksenija, that I have right here.
Hi, hello everybody. My name is Ksenija Prekovic. I am a talent manager working in talent development in Bilfinger, which is a large multinational company here, based here in Germany, but with places worldwide. Is female leadership better? My answer would be compassionate and empathetic leadership, which has a growth focus, is better. However, what I have seen is that good women leaders are usually compassionate, empathetic, and focus on growth. So the answer is yes. Over to the next speaker.
Thanks so much for these very important characteristics of a good female leadership: compassionate, empathic, and focus on growth. And I mean, this doesn't have to be only for women, but it can be also male. But I think it's actually something that we see in a lot of women, as you said, as you mentioned. I'm gonna go with Jidnyasa to see what you have to say, Jid.
Hello, good evening, and thank you so much for this opportunity, Yolanda. So I would first like to introduce myself. My name is Jidnyasa Gujar, and I am a business development manager at a bioanalytical firm based in Heidelberg, Germany. And apart from that, I'm also a doctoral candidate at Heidelberg University. And I really own passion for entrepreneurship. So this has led me to co-founding a company which has passion for curing or accelerating paths towards rare disorder therapies. So I do hold versatile hats at the moment. And to answer this question, what are the good qualities of a female leader? Then I would like to add on top of Ksenija's comments, of course, I truly agree with being empathetic and compassionate or passionate enough. But I also see that women value work-life balance. So that is really important. Secondly, I see that women are really good at multitasking. So that really adds as a plus point for being a good female leader. And to top it up, I would say that we are more good in being inclusive. So this would be my third point that I would like to say. Yeah.
I love it. I think totally work-life balance is something that we want to focus on. And that often I see my beloved boss staying at work over hours, very, very late time. And I think like there is things at home that are more important than this work, which is incredible. I mean, I'm absolutely thankful to be working for EIT Health, but also my life is a priority. So very, very important point, Jeet, that you're bringing up. Joana, on to you.
So thank you so much, Yolanda, for the opportunity to present here. So my background and also so my opinion about this issue on this topic. So for the past 13 years, I've been working so in several fields. So I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an innovator, and also a researcher and university professor. Actually, I've been through 3 startups as a C-level position, and and as a co-founder. So I first co-founded my first company, so that was based on a medtech field, optical fiber based solution in order to identify in early stages diseases. Then I helped to co-found in other C-level stage, so as a chief data officer, so in a medtech position as well, so based on respiratory patterns to predict respiratory diseases. And now I'm more focused on food tech, on the food tech system, and also on sustainability. So I think that the leadership, the team of leadership in women, it's better. So since I was more on the technical side and even on the C-level positions, I started with more technical operations and also products. I feel that there is been a lot of progression there. But now that I'm moving for the CEO positions and fundraising and so on, contacting directly with the investors, and I think there is a lot to improve because, like for example, in a committee room where you have the committee investment, so there is so there are a few situations where you have like one women in order to do the decision for the investment, and so the number of women CEOs, it's also limited yet. So this is my opinion.
Great. And indeed, yeah, we see this, especially I think in health and med tech and tech, we see a lot of these problems. So indeed, that's why we need more events like the one we are having today and more talks like this. Continuing on the characteristics, Joana, what do you think are the characteristics that make a good leader? Doesn't have to be female or not, or whether you recognize them on a female or not. But we have already heard work-life balance, multitasking, inclusivity, compassionate, empathetic, and growth focus. What would be your 3 maybe?
So I think that like to be assertive, because one of the things that it's very difficult for a team when you are a leader, it's to be very confused regarding the clear objectives of the company, either from the technical view, either from the business timeline or the opportunities of the company. So I think that you have to be assertive and clear in terms of the communication. I think that you have to be creative at the same time, because if you have not the ideas that are out of the box that allow you to inspire the others and so build a company that has the technology that could be increase the competitiveness regarding the competition, so you will be killed. Actually, I think that it's unfortunately is that, and so considering startups world, you know that so a few have to leave. And thirdly, so I think that it's very similar to the things that were already said, like to be empathetic and also
but like to be human, to understand the feelings of others, but at the same taking into consideration the goals of the company. But I really believe that there is always a balance and like a medium point where you can have both. So this is my 3 points that I would advise for a leader. I think that you are muted, Yolanda.
Yeah, here. Awesome. Thank you so much. It's great points. Before we continue actually with the questions, I will take actually these moments to introduce our organizations that are hosting us today. So, as you know, well, I actually missed the introduction to myself. I'm Yolanda Sánchez. I'm education lead at EIT Health, but I'm also regional coordinator for the EIT Health Innovators community, before known as alumni. And this is a community that we have built for you by alumni for alumni. And this, I want to just share my screen so that I can tell you a little bit more about this. And it should be coming now. I think you can see it. Good. So, this is our awesome banner created by Bea. Thank you so much, Bea, for this wonderful work on our imaging all the time. And I would like to, I have introduced you your innovators community who I'm representing today, but I also want to introduce EIT Women. EIT Women is a network to activate and empower women in European innovation. This is a branch of our beloved EIT, and it's a network as well as the innovators community, but focus on women empowerment for positive change and gender equality in EIT communities, but also outside them. And a little bit more about the innovators community, formerly known as EIT Health Alumni. We focus on knowledge transfer, community building, and career development. We will help you to connect to the innovators or to the people that are like-minded and that you would need in order to continue your career. We are part of EIT Health, but also of EIT, the European Institute for Innovation and Technology. And what we do is we bring experts for you to learn. We connect you to for you to learn from and to share, also to network actually quite a lot. We bring you networking activities like today's, like other networking activities that we have. We have opportunities to be hired or to actually open positions. If you have your own startup, your own business, or you have positions that you would like to open, you can also do that. And you can become a mentor. So it is not about being only a mentee, but also about being a mentor. And we have more than 3,000 members already, and it's still growing. Here is the link for you to join our team, and we will also be sending this link through the chat. And a little bit more about EIT Women. As I said, the objective is to drive positive change in the topic of gender equality, and to support this. Only 6% of CEO positions are held by women, and this is in general in European companies. So this is even lower than the numbers that I was mentioning to you before. It's huge pay gap, about 80 cents for every euro. And there is also less investment getting, or less women CEO are getting investment. So everything relevant for the discussion that we are having today. And this is why we also encourage you to join EIT Women for mentorship programs, upskilling and networking events, and ambassador programs. And that's me. I have been introduced already. I hope by now you're familiar with me, and I will just continue with our conversation. I see you, Suzanne. So exciting to see you. So, I will go back to, I will stop sharing my screen and I will please give you the floor. Suzanne, welcome. Can you introduce yourself and tell us more about what do you think of female leadership? Is it better and better than what?
Oh boy, great question. Hello, everyone. So my name is Suzanne Murray. I'm the CEO founder of AXDev International, headquarters in Canada, but also based in the U.S. as well as Germany. And I found the question very, very demanding and forced a lot of reflection. And I guess my first response would be, it depends. It depends on the woman. It depends on the organization and its culture. But I would say that women leaders bring a lot more different skills, competencies than men, as long as they don't attempt to mimic or to copy how men behave in leadership roles. And that's something that I've seen in my 30 years as an entrepreneur, is many women in leadership roles tend to believe they need to mimic the way that men behave. So that would be the first thing. So when women are authentic, and I would say there are differences from different generations of women as well. So my generation, I would say 55 plus or 60 plus, we probably were the generation that really tried to break the glass ceiling. And therefore, many of us had to be a little more assertive, maybe even aggressive at times to really make it, or mimic how men behave. So I think those women that are true to themselves, that are not afraid to be authentic and assertive and confident, succeed very well and bring extensive value to any organization. Women that attempt to mimic other behaviors and not are true or authentic, I think they end up struggling a little more. And do they really bring more value than their male counterparts? I think that's debatable. I'll stop there for now.
Thank you, Suzanne. Such a great comment that you're bringing in. I totally and absolutely agree that it depends. It always depends. But one thing that you're mentioning, the mimic part, I think it's incredible how society has pushed it forward to say women should be identical to men. And I think I love how the discourse is changing to equality and not equally. We are not the same. We will never be. As any people can, like one person, Suzanne, you're not the same as I am. Jid, Joana, Ksenija, we're all different, Caroline. But we all bring something enlightening to whatever we are, as soon as we stand true to ourselves. But what if society tells us that we cannot be true to ourselves in order to achieve these positions of leadership? And I fully agree that that other generations open the door for us. At least for me, I can say I value so much the work that other women before me have done, so that I can achieve more easily spaces that before were unthinkable of. So great comment that we're bringing in, and I hope that maybe we can also listen to Caroline. Okay, I think not yet, so I will continue with our next question. And actually, I'm back to you, Suzanne. What would be our 3 characteristics that make a good leader, male or female, or elephant?
I think that the primary characteristics, whether you're a male or a female, is to first have vision. And be strategic. And I think the women that are authentic, as I mentioned earlier, and true to themselves, do come in with very good strategy and vision. And I think that's the first thing. Often we see women that are more tactical because of their lack of confidence or imposter syndrome. They tend to get more tactical versus really pushing, their strategic thinking as well as their vision. I come back to the word authentic. I think women must be authentic, and that is a challenge for, I think, many women. I know I've been coaching women in leadership roles for a number of years, and often they are concerned to be their authentic selves. Collaborative, we already know from the literature, but it is true. I think women have much more of a humanistic and collaborative side. So those are obviously very critical, skills that are required. We can talk about confidence, but I think confidence stems from, again, a very strong strategic vision of bringing solutions to the environment, whether it's service or product. And women can be a little more passionate versus very rational, logical than men when they think of vision. So that passion often I've seen drive a lot of women's successes.
I love it. I love your response. And I'm going to take one key word from this is, or more than a keyword, something that I would like to come back to once Caroline can talk to us, and it's imposter syndrome. And I will add to it societal roles, because I'm sure that she's going to have a very, very interesting perspective on this as consultants and strategies for female founders. I know that we talked about these topics actually in our episode number 1. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then, so I would love to hear Caroline on this. But adding to our strategic words, it's vision, strategy, authentic again, and collaborative. So I think at the end we're going to have a very good list of what we need to have to be good leaders. And I'm going to come back to that at the end as part of our learnings. But I would like to continue discussing. We have touched a little bit on this, but what would be the advantages and disadvantages of being a female leader? Jid, I'll go to you first. What do you think?
Sure, I can take on this one, and not to be pessimistic, but I do have a fair bit of list on disadvantages of being a female leader. Because I am trying to teach myself and learn from it. Actually, I would like to just list a book here that was very handy to me, and I was using it as a training purpose for myself. It is called Nice Girls Don't Get the Corner Office. It's by Louise P. Frankel, and it talks about all the mistakes women make in leadership positions or to getting to their leadership positions or even in a working environment. But talking about 3 advantages and 3 disadvantages. So one I would like to point out is that, again, we do encourage very free thinking and we are really good at multitasking. However, this could be a disadvantage in another setting, where I can give an example that I know that women are really good multitaskers, but this again takes down a big toll on women as well, to creating mental stress and also overcommitting on work schedules. So this is one of the disadvantages that I would like to cite side by side. Another advantage that I feel as a woman that we can make is empowering, and we are really good, empathetic towards empowering other women. It comes naturally to us. And the disadvantage would be during empowerment, there could be, I mean, I'm not trying to relate it to disadvantage, but it often occurs that women, or not women, but we also let women, we also let people waste our time. So this is something that I have learned by not being able to say no, and just going on and on with somebody's request, even when you have given your best, and I think the time has been taken by this person, but still you're willing to give more. And this is somewhere I feel that is an advantage, a disadvantage for me at least. And a third point as an advantage is that women are they tend to create, or let's point out a disadvantage first. So I feel women are also likely to minimize their position in a work setting. For example, if I have to introduce somebody, it might occur that I might use words such as, "Oh, I'm just a business development manager. I have not accomplished anything." So this is a disadvantage when I feel that I am undermining myself. I mean, this is absolutely not needed. And this is one of the things that I find, especially in female leaders who have come across in my settings who have done it. But at the same time, I feel as an advantage, women are more likely to have "I will show you" attitude. Like they are more outgoing. They are also very much able to show that, yes, I can do it, and they do it. So "I can show" attitude really works. It's an advantage there. And with that,
I love it.
Yeah.
I think this is very important. And we're touching very, very important points of we minimize ourselves often. We are overcommitting because we think we need to earn that position constantly. And that's why we are also afraid to say no. So everything connects on a circle. So I would like to hear who wants to continue this conversation and say what are the advantages and if you see other disadvantages.
I don't mind going next, Yolanda, if you'd like.
Thanks, Suzanne.
I would definitely agree with some of the points that my colleague shared as well. And coming back to the multitasking, I think often women are so used to actually doing a lot because they multitask that they struggle sometimes to delegate. And they don't quite know how to delegate, to whom to delegate. So one of the key things is applying delegation principles as much in your family as in your company. I see that there's some questions there about how do you balance, family and hobbies and self-care and obviously being a leader. Well, sometimes what we need to apply with employees can also be adapted and applied within your family. With children, with friends, with relatives, when there's conflicts or difficult, conversations that need to be had. But I think women tend to want to resolve everything on their own. They want to problem solve on their own, and they often want to do as much as possible. So that skill of delegating is something that's really critical for successful female leaders. So it's a positive, but it's a negative at the same time. The other area is often women have a much greater need to be liked. So they'll make decisions or they'll do things that will ensure that they're going to not create conflict or provoke conflict, as well as they need to feel that they have a purpose and that they're liked, they're appreciated, much more than men. And that's something that often stems also from confidence or lack of. So it's important as a successful leader to be balanced, to know when it's time to make people accountable, but at the same time praise them, but not be afraid to be disliked, because we can't be liked by everyone when we're in a leadership role. And that often is something difficult for women to accept. On the advantage side, I think women are often much more inspiring in the way they communicate, because they're collaborative, much more human. They can be much more inspirational, but don't always leverage that competency or that skill. So inspiration is also, I think, a very positive side, a positive point on women, for women.
I fully agree with what you mentioned, Suzanne. So great comments. And I see Joana with her mic open, so maybe you want to follow next, add to this great conversation.
Yeah, so I think that everything was said more or less. So one of the advantages, like when we start one thing, one activity, when we apply for anything that it doesn't have like female something, that I believe that it's a thing that sometimes undermines us. we start with less, like minus 50 points than a man. So I think that it's a disadvantage just for being a woman. So but at the same time, one advantage is that so I really think that there are women that are capable of so being what they are, reveal their authenticity when they are working. And if they can show, and if we are able to show that without the afraid of being misunderstood or being accepted as like a weak leader, or that we are mimicking someone by being aggressive or something, I think that it will be like so it will be like a win from a female leadership perspective. So authenticity, multitasking, because I think that being a leader, it's not only in the work. Being a leader, it's always at the personal level, because so it spreads our responsibilities from the work to the personal side, and it's something that is a disadvantage, but at the same an advantage, because you learn to be strong enough to everything that you can be in front of. So strong, a strong dynamism, authenticity, and also flexibility. So all advantages, only the advantage of beginning in so in a short run with less points than a man.
Thank you so much, Joana. Very, very important points, and it's sad to hear that sometimes only being a woman can be already a disadvantage, but it's still true, unfortunately, and I'm happy that we are generating these spaces to change that and educate towards change for the new generation. Ksenija, tell me, what's next?
What's next? Well, it's a little bit, I think, touch base on the things that my colleague speakers also mentioned. I would 100% agree that women can be overly modest. This is something that Jid said. It's like kind of always minimizing our successes. And this is really something that we can, without a shame, mimic our male colleagues and copy their behavior, and kind of be a little bit more publicly marketing ourselves. I am guilty. I'm raising my hand. I'm guilty. I do the same thing. I'm conscious, and this is something that I consciously work on. Not always successfully, but I try. So that's this is one way how this overly modest showcases itself. Another way is also something that was mentioned, is that women might be, because of this, oh, I must be liked, or I must be perfect in everything I do, tend to take a little bit less risk in taking new kind of targets, where the chance of potential not being 100% successful can be there. So there is this reluctance to take on untrue and tested tasks. Again, something that I've had to be a little bit conscious to work on. When I say women, I think I'm talking about myself now. I'm a woman. But I think what I've really tried to kind of talk to myself and the colleagues that I talk with is say, failure is not opposite of success. Failure is part of the success. If you fail and then you reflect on it, learn, grow, you have succeeded. And this is what when I said first about growth mentality, growth focus, this is what I think that it is important. One more thing, when we talked about women as leaders, and I think it was mentioned, but maybe not directly. I would say good women leaders are usually more open to be vulnerable and to show that they're not perfect. And that is inspirational, somebody mentioned, but also this makes them approachable, and then this makes their team better and stronger in collaboration. So those are my, a little bit longer than 2 cents.
No, but I love it. You're totally right. And I think, Ksenia, you're giving me the floor, and you already asked my follow-up question that is going to be probably our last question, checking the clock here. We have mentioned disadvantages, and you already mentioned how to tackle those disadvantages. I would like the rest of you to think how, because we want to bring solutions, right? We don't want to stay in the complaint, but we want to have this space so that we can be better leaders. So how do we improve these disadvantages? What can we do in our little space to support the disadvantages? And I'm gonna start. I'm just gonna say one very small one, but it's there's a number, something like 45% of the men apply for positions that they don't fit with the description, just because they think, why not? Whether women, we tend to think more about this and say like, oh no, but probably I will get it because they're asking for this skill. I really don't have it. I have not worked on this enough, and we just don't apply. So one thing is, go for the job, go for the application, go for asking that raise. The worst that can happen is getting a no. I think that's something that that literature proves that it's often what we do, and I start from myself. Like, we just need to start asking. The no is always a guarantee, and if we get a yes, I mean, wonderful. So I would like to continue with Suzanne. What would you say? How can we target this disadvantages?
Well, I think just being aware of the disadvantages is the first step. So often when we go into leadership roles, especially women, and if we don't have role models or mentors to guide us, we don't quite know what those disadvantages look like or how to cope or deal with them. So I would say the first step is become aware. Have like this wonderful session that you're all offering allows hopefully for questions and to get as much insight and support as possible. But many of, I think, the disadvantages are also learning opportunities. And so from my perspective, I think the word disadvantage is maybe a little strong. I think that there are challenges for women and men to go into a leadership role. So I think that, and a challenge is not necessary, because for me, a disadvantage is something that is maybe a little more difficult to overcome, because it could be interpreted as though it's permanent, right? Something that's a disadvantage. Whereas a challenge isn't permanent. A challenge is something that you can actually overcome if you seek out the right support and you ask a lot of questions. And that's the other area, is to address disadvantages, what you're calling disadvantages or challenges. It's all about being proactive. So reach out, ask questions, even ask men, because many men that are very good leaders, they have a different perspective on how women leaders, how they interact with women leaders or their colleagues that are in leadership roles. So don't assume that you only have to ask other women that have the experience on going through these different learnings. Be proactive and ask men. I would definitely. So there's some great questions in the chat that I saw. The last thing I think I would say is, because we do have a much more collaborative nature in principle, it's also important to ask other peers, not just leaders, but what are other women going through as they're trying to move up the ladder, as they're trying, what are their challenges? What are their successes? What has worked? What hasn't worked? So it's really reaching out to your network. And again, not only your female network, but your peer network, your male networks. I think that is very helpful and useful.
I fully agree, Suzanne, with what you're mentioning, especially about our male peers. And one thing that I got into a discussion with my husband, but also with my colleague, my male colleague, David. He said, "Why didn't you invite men?" And I said, "We didn't thought about it, but I totally agree with you that there should be, for our next season, an invitation to hear about leadership in a mixed room where we can have both aspects. But I think it's nice to also have this safe space where we can ask all of these questions. And I will ask Jid, if you could continue and maybe be brief, because I think there are some awesome questions on the Q&A indeed. I think some of them have been answered, but not all of them. So maybe we could go through those.
Sure. Well, I'm going to rephrase the earlier word that I used. Definitely, I agree with Suzanne 100% that these are the challenges that we are facing, and to overcome the challenges or the hurdles that we face in leadership, or even to having the leadership characteristics. I feel one of the main characteristics is also believing and noticing in your own accomplishments. So try giving yourself good words for the day, and also relying on what you have done. Having confidence in yourself is one aspect where you can keep yourself you notice your own changes, you notice your own skills, whether your growth. So this is really very important, and I think one should also keep in mind to having accountability, to notice your challenges, or to see yourself growing. So this is one thing. I mean, of course, Susanna has covered really good points. I cannot talk less on networking or the importance of networking, because this has been one of my really, really favorite topics, which I also covered in one of the seasons, one of the episodes from this season. But yes, networking, when you are doing it yourself and when you're just being out there asking for help, asking for mentorship, is really helpful. And not just to the same gender, but to both genders, and not just being shy. Yeah, being very open.
I love it. It's a great way to close part of this topic. And yeah, awareness of where do we fail, what to improve, and networking are great things to take home. And I would like to finalize with Joana.
Yes, so I believe that we have like a natural thing that could help us to fight. So these, I agree that disadvantages are very strong words. So I think that it's like challenges. That is the fact that men are not used to, like, for example, to hear so that something is wrong with their work, or they have to change their behavior or something. So based on historical details and how women have been so treated in work, so depending on the times, so we have grown with that idea that we have to adapt ourselves to the suggestions, to the way people are doing some tips regarding the way we should behave or something. So I think that one thing that is very powerful for us is the way and how flexible we are. But changing one thing that it's not very suitable for regarding our leadership behavior. And sometimes it could be something from our peers, as someone mentioned, because hearing our team and how the team works and how the team is performing and how they feel, it's very important for a leader. And if you are not able to hear them and repair our behavior, so we are not being good leaders. And I think that we are much better than men regarding that. And this is a way to handle so one of the big challenges that I think that it's not a disadvantage, but a challenge of the global leadership.
I absolutely agree. There cannot be leadership without listening. And I think that's one of the big differences between a leader and a boss. A leader should listen and should empower their surroundings. So I would like to make a tiny break to give the opportunity for our participants to fill out our survey. So I'm just gonna give 2 minutes for you to fill out the survey. You can scan the QR code. We would love to hear, what would you like to listen to next? What should be our next topics? What should we be doing for season 3? Or do you want the season 3? Who should we invite? We're open to all your suggestions. And while I give 1 more minute for you to fill out the survey, I just want to thank again the team that made possible season number 6. Not all of them are episode 6 and season number 2. I hope we will get to season number 6. Not all of them are present today, but certainly they're all there supporting and taking care and keeping our back safe. So thank you so much. Thank you so much also to our speakers for taking the time of being here. I'm not saying goodbye yet, so don't worry. But I just wanted to take already the time to say thank you, Joana. Thank you, Jidnyasa. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Ksenia, for being here. This has been such an amazing conversation. And while I'm going to stop sharing, I would like for you to maybe go back like very quickly in one sentence, try to answer one of our questions online, that is, how do you balance the demands of leadership with other aspects of your life? I think this is a great question.
Prioritize yourself. Just make sure that your needs and your what you need is important, the most important to you. So if you have to close at 5 and everybody else is staying to prove a point at 5:30 or 6 o'clock, that's up to them. I think that I should work until 5. Well, that's me.
I love it. This is a great, tiny but super powerful detail that we often miss. Again, trying to prove ourselves. Who would like to join? I see Suzanne with your mic open.
Sure. I would say that to manage your own expectations on yourself, accept the fact that perfect balance will never exist. It's going to be a matter of prioritizing different things at different times. Sometimes you will have to prioritize your family for various reasons. Other times it will be the business or the position. Perfect balance, I think, doesn't really exist. Your role is really to continuously be assessing those 3 or those 4 areas, your personal life like family, yourself as a woman, first and foremost, and your role as a leader. And we have a lot of other roles. We're daughters, we're friends, we have a very large network. So if we all want to achieve a perfect balance, I think that's why we see women stressed a lot. So I would encourage you all to just accept that you'll never be in a perfect balance, but there is a way to juggle all those different areas and prioritize at different things at different times. Just don't forget yourself, first and foremost.
Thank you so much, Suzanne, for great words. I fully agree. Prioritizing, it will be always the case. And it's never, the world in our lives was so much that we cannot just assume that family or work or my hobby will always be the number one. But we need to also be flexible. Joana, I see you're ready to comment.
Yeah, so I believe that that is the most difficult task from a leader side. So that is everyday deciding to which part of my life I will dedicate more. So I think that I work in that sense. So okay, so today what is burning out? So today it's burning out more the work, so I will focus more on the work. So, and I will keep the safety batteries for the rest. And then in the other day, so what is burning out, it's me. So I will focus on me. So yeah, but always saving some batteries for what is the important, that is family and me.
Absolutely. This is such an important point and something that we need to do every day, often. Jid, what will be your advice?
So, well, I do enjoy at the moment my life, since I do not have this aspect of balancing family at the moment. So I really focus on giving time to my hobbies, giving time on self-care and on self-love. And I'm really prioritizing on making my life stable and healthy. So this comes with this one word which keeps getting highlighted throughout from all of our speakers, is prioritizing and giving importance to yourself. Always think in your perspective too. So this would be my statement. I also looked at one of the very interesting conversations or questions from Bia. She mentioned about how do you handle difficult conversations and conflicts within the team. So maybe my 2 cents on this. Well, this came across to me not once or twice, but quite frequently, because my job is front facing. I do have to deal with external clients and also internal team coordination. And there what I learned is you do have to say that, yes, you hear them. You do have to listen to it. Yes, at times people do not mind their tone of language, and this can get out of hand. But if you keep yourself calm and composed and aware of the situation, you can handle it very well. And this is what I have learned through, and I practice it during conflicts or conflicting situations in my team too, where I keep myself really calm and try not to hurt my feelings, because it's a work setting and nobody is trying to hurt you personally. But it's just that there are some angersome situations, and in these times I always make this make the person also aware of where their tone is heading to. So I tell them to mind their tone when they are talking to me. And if you do this since the beginning of the conversation, I think it helps reduce down the conflict too.
I love that comment, and thank you for picking up on this question. And we are 2 minutes over, but maybe if one of you would like to comment on this question as well, I will give the floor to one more person, because I don't want to take all the time of the audience and our speakers. But maybe I think this is a very important question that maybe someone else would like to share something on. I see you're very quiet, ladies. I'm surprised.
Same question or another question?
Same question.
Maybe Suzanne, you can go.
Well, I think challenging conversations obviously are never easy. And the best way to deal, from a psychology perspective or organizational psychology and behavior perspective, it's really just ensuring that you are using, it depends on where the conflict is. If the conflict is between you as the leader and other, colleagues at the same level, obviously it's important to have, as best possible, a candid discussion, really ensuring that you're listening, but at the same time that you're asking that person a lot of questions. One of the best techniques is to ask questions. Can you, explain, why you're seeing it in this perspective? Can you explain to me why, just so I can better understand, and really show that compassion and that listening skill, especially with peers. And then not be afraid to be candid, appropriate, professional, but to share your perspectives as well. When it's with employees, obviously, it could be slightly different, but the same technique can apply. That again, you ask questions. Start with questions, because in psychology, what we say is that once someone can get their issues out on the table, out of their head, often they become much more receptive to hearing, what you might have to say, or what, your perspective might be. So always give the other party, be the stronger in the communication. Always give the other party the opportunity to, express themselves first. Strong leaders, confident leaders will do that. Food for thought.
Thank you. This is a great comment. And unfortunately, I have to close here because we are already 5 minutes over the time. But before closing, and before giving a great applause to our great speakers, I would like to share one little super quick slide that I just made with the keywords that have been mentioned. I think the most over our conversation, what makes a great leader. Prioritizing comes in capital letters because it was just such an important word for personal development. Visionary, strategic, collaborative, compassionate, empathetic, inclusive, authentic over everything. I think authentic could be the sum up of so many parts of the conversation. Just don't be afraid of show yourself. Just don't be afraid of apply to that job. Don't be afraid of asking for in that difficult conversation. Listening skills and open mind. I think it would be great if we can all take away, or this at least is my takeaway from this conversation. So many, but this is just a tiny piece of it, of what I'm going to take home and try to practice every time I'm in a leadership position. So thank you so much, Suzanne. Thank you, Ksenija. Thank you, Jidnyasa. Thank you, Joana, for being here. Thank you to the team for making this possible, and for the audience for listening to us in our crazy ideas of making this female leadership season number 2. We're looking forward to seeing you in season number 3. Also, if you have not seen our previous episodes, please don't hesitate of going to our EIT Health Innovators community, sign up and look for our previous events, or recommend this event if you really like it. I love it, so I'm just gonna share the link as soon as it is ready. Thank you so much for your time, and talk to you soon. Go be leaders, female.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Visit community.eithealth.eu to join our community and shape the healthcare landscape with us. For more such videos, subscribe to our channel.